Well, good morning. 6:12. Another decent day on the way today. Sunshine with a high going to the mid-60s. Don't look now, but tomorrow, sunshine mid-70s. And don't look now, but the primary is over. The commercials and the hype. And I think maybe the Donald Trump demonstrators at every polling place will be over at least until November.
I did see one Bernie Sanders guy yesterday with a sign.
Bernie Sanders actually did well upstate, but Hillary with a blowout statewide.
Plus,
and Trump with a blowout throughout the state. Just a huge state victory. Really incredible.
So he got 89 out of 90 regular delegates, which I guess I don't know who the one holdout was.
Yeah, I think there's 95 total, right?
Right,
at
95
the end of the
total.
Day, and he ends up with 89 or whatever that number
At least
is.
89.
And that's big, but still probably not big enough to get to the 1237. It's still a rough run. It's still got to win better than 60% of all of the delegates here on out, and that's that's going to be a tough challenge. So, Andrew Dominio.
Good morning. I was talking briefly with Jeff about this before the show, and one of the things that I was confused about, and maybe just because this is my first primary voting in, but there was the two candidates for me because I was registered Democrat. There was the two candidates that you had the choice for. Then there was the delegates listed to the right, and it said choose up to 5.
Yeah.
And so basically you vote for your candidate, and then you would pick up to 5 delegates that you wanted, but you didn't know who that delegate was supporting. Now, so in a way, if you had voted for one candidate and then voted for, let's say, 4 of the 5 delegates, or 4 delegates of the 8 that were available, you would be essentially voting for whoever they wanted to.
Well, they're bound. They're bound, and the rules are very from party to party are different. So they are bound. However, in a contested convention, things begin to change. And this, that's really what's being talked about on the Republican side.
Right, and this is the true republic part of this process where you're actually electing your representative to vote in your caucus. So you're picking the 5 people who you think will best represent your views in the convention.
And I only knew 2 of the people on
right. The problem is that there's really not a lot of information out there on who you're voting for, right?
But if you're running as a delegate, you're going to tell people, you may not tell the average person, but you're going to tell like a core group of people.
Yeah. But for him, he has no idea who he's voting for.
Right.
Yep. It is
which
confusing.
Is, I guess, unfortunate, especially if you're Republican and, you could be voting for somebody that you think is going to be supporting maybe Donald Trump, but in the end, maybe they're supporting Ted Cruz, but not in New York. Ted Cruz got just destroyed in New York. And I think there was one district where Ben Carson actually beat Ted Cruz.
Oh, boy.
And Ben Carson, of course, was still on the ballot, and you might have seen that. Anyway, the numbers from up here, what do you have there? Jeff Manaski.
We're looking at Oneida County. In Oneida County, it was Trump got 56% of the vote. John Kasich got 26. Ben Carson got 1.4, and Ted Cruz 16. So Trump got 56% in Oneida County. So
That's
he got
big.
All 3 delegates from Oneida County. This was interesting. In Oneida County and in the 22nd Congressional District, Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton 54-45. But of course, obviously, there's so many more Democrats downstate. I mean, she won easily, but it was just interesting to see that he was really kind of popular upstate, or still is popular.
That many of the Democrats up here, anyway, have a bit of a very liberal. Because that's if you're voting for Bernie Sanders, you're ultra liberal, and it was really surprising to see the number of people that came out to vote for him upstate. Overall, she wins pretty handily, and is big primary coming up on Tuesday, where 5 Northeast states are included. So that's going to be pretty big, but she's pretty much securing her spot as long as she does well from here on out. Trump, he could still get to 1237, right? Mm-hmm. He could get there. It's a long haul, but he could get there.
let's say it's all said and done. It's Trump and Clinton. I mean, who do you vote for at that point?
Well, it's very close to being
that's
Trump
what it's
and
gonna
Clinton.
be.
Yeah.
And that's our question of the day. Will it be Clinton versus Trump in 2016?
Yep.
Just one thing, everywhere I'm seeing, and I actually have this in my story as well because that's what the AP had, was that Trump has 89 right now and Kasich has 3, so that leaves 3 more to be determined. But in looking at the State Board of Elections website, I actually count 4 counties where Trump is below 50%. And we had talked about how it's three per
He's got to
congressional
hit 50%
district.
or he doesn't get. Yeah.
Right. So I have 3 congressional districts where he's below 50%. Or 4, excuse me. So that would mean Kasich would have 4, but everyone's saying 3.
Yeah, and there's also one district though that I think is undecided right now. That Kasich has won, but it's only by a handful of votes, so they're going to do an absentee ballot.
Maybe that's what they're
count.
waiting on.
Yeah,
okay.
could be. Ted Cruz made an odd. He began a whole new speech, and he debuted it last night in Philadelphia. And it was kind of an odd. I don't really get where he's going here. America has always been at her best when she's lying down with her back on the mat.
Do you think he meant with her back against the wall?
No, it's a wrestling. This is a wrestling metaphor.
No, I don't think it is. I think we're the greatest economic nation on the planet, and that's the world's oldest profession. I think that's what he's saying.
So he's talking about prostitution.
Yeah, obviously he made a mistake there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Well, I think what Christine's saying.
Think of what he's saying. No, I don't think so. I think he's saying. Remember, this is a speech that he's really planned out. He's saying that when your back is on the mat, I mean, listen, it's a wrestling. It's referring to wrestling.
But why
when your
use a
back
woman?
is on the mat, huh?
Well, it's Lady Liberty, so.
No. No.
You mean when he said okay, let's listen to. Yeah, I don't know how you could write that because you're right. Using the female does leave the door open for prostitution jokes.
He could say we're our best when we're lying down, instead he.
Yeah, the back on your mat on the mat is a. There you are. You're fighting from your back, but that's not a way to describe this country either.
I know.
I don't ever feel like we've been in that situation. Maybe there was a point during World War II when we were, the Allies were really losing the war, and maybe you could make that comparison. But maybe somebody can explain it. I don't get it. I just do not understand it at all. Back against the wall would have been, Christine, a far better way to say it, but her back against the mat. Here's Christine with an update.